Okay, this is your third set of practice questions for changing fractions, decimals, and percents from section 4.1 in the MathLinks 8 textbook. The first fraction you're given is 9/16. And for most people, if you're trying to change a fraction to a decimal, the simplest way to do it is to simply take your numerator and divide it by your denominator. So if I take my calculator, bring it over here so it's in the picture, and go 9 divided by 16, it will tell me that as a decimal, that's the answer. Okay? So all I had to do was to convert one of those fractions where that denominator doesn't look easy to get it to be a 10, 100, or 1,000. I can do that. Okay? And then if I wanted to, I could then reinterpret it as a different fraction, which is this number, and work from there to get the percent. That's one way you could have taken it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a completely different method. I'm going to leave that decimal there. If I want to get it to a percentage, and I want to do it from a fraction, and I don't want to go to a decimal first, the easiest way to do that is to use one of the skills you've already acquired this year, and that's proportional reasoning. Okay? So 9 out of 16 is proportional to what number out of 100? Whatever that x equals will be what the value is of 9/16 as a percent, right? So if you think of it using proportional reasoning, you would end up with this algebraic equation, 16x equals 900. You would divide both sides by 16, and you get x equals whatever 900 divided by 16 is, and it's 56.25, and therefore it's 56.25%, or 56.25%. Okay, and that's using proportional reasoning to get there. But probably what you didn't use proportional reasoning. Probably you did this thing here first. You made it into this, then you made it into this, then you made it into this, then you made it into this answer here. Okay, that's probably the pathway most of you chose. But what I want to do with this question is realize that if you have any score on a test, and let's say it's 2 out of 37, right? You can make it into a percentage right away. And I'll just do it here for a second. If you have 2 out of 37 and you want to know what percent it is, you can use proportional reasoning every single time to get the percent right away, right? No converting it to a decimal, no rethinking it. It's a percentage. It just goes right to whatever the value of x is in this proportion. You would have the percentage for what 2 out of 37 represents. Okay. All right. In the next question, you have this number here. If you're going to make it into a fraction and as a percent, you have to be able to read it. And this one here is 8 tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. Right? So if you don't know your place value, you have to really work on that, because 8 ten thousandths as a fraction is this. And as a fraction out of 100, which is important for this particular part of our conversation, I'd have to divide both by 100. And 8 divided by 100, I got to move my decimal 2 places. So I get 0.08 out of 100, which is a percentage. Since it's out of 100, and out of 100 means percent, that is my answer. Or this number, or what we didn't talk about, what we should have, 42 out of 25%. All three of these are the same thing, and here's why. Because I forgot back here that 8 out of 10,000 in lowest terms, because both are divisible by 4, I'd have 2 out of 2,500. Oh, is that right? Oh, sorry. Did I make a mistake somewhere there? Divide by 4, divide by 4. I made a mistake somewhere, but I just don't know where it is. I'll pretend I didn't do that. I'll erase that, and then I'll pretend I didn't say that. Oh, hang on. Okay. Back down to here. Last question. 204.5% would be the same thing as 204.5%. And the reason why I wrote it the second way is because now, because it's a percentage, 205% is 204.5 out of 100, which is 2,045 out of 1,000, because I multiplied the decimal out. Sorry, 10 and 10. which means it's 2 and 45 thousandths as a mixed fraction, which means it's 2 and tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 45 thousandths. That's what it is as a decimal.